All right, looks like we are live, and welcome everybody to this stream about the Tales of the Weird and Strange publication. Not that this publication is strange, that is the title of the publication. And I have a lot of the contributors waiting in the wings, behind the scenes, in the penumbra of the stream, if you will. But I have the originator, or shall we say the instigator, the man who is the compiler of all this talent and an inspiration to create this great publication. At least that's my opinion. Lawrence, say hi to the folks, first of all.
And boy, you're really laying it on pretty thick.
Well, you know, you wanted me to host the stream, so you can't complain about my methods at this point.
I can, but it won't do no good.
It won't do any good. That's right. So Lawrence, let's start off with you, and then we'll get to the chat. All right, because we want to talk about the great people that are following us here. So, Tales of the Weird and Strange. Now we know that you are the author of Ghostly Legends.
Yeah.
And this is a sort of a recompilation of a book that you published, what, 15 years ago or so?
Yeah, 15, 20 years ago.
Okay. And so this was republished recently, but then you got the inspiration somehow to talk to a lot of people in the community on Instagram and with obviously the publisher, Chuck Millhouse, and create this monster. So how did this come about? Why is this existing right now?
Well, the only thing I can say is I like pulp magazines. I don't never see much. It's all online reading. And I just wanted to see it in some stores. And so far that's happened. And always like the pulps. I mean, I can't come up with any better idea than that. And the horror pulps is my favorites of all of them. Okay, so
you're a big fan of the pulps and the horror pulps, and you know me, I love the sci-fi pulps, right? But so you said to yourself at some point, hey, I want to make my own pulp or pulp-like publication.
Well, you know, I never really thought about it because I was like, yeah, I would like to do that because I originally started it. I was going to do the whole thing and put it in pulp format. Mm-hmm. And Charles is doing a pulp too, and he was telling me about it, and I was like, you know, maybe I ought to do that. Then I was like, I wanted to get it released by Halloween, and I'm like, there's no way I can put that much stuff in there. So I just reached out to people, and boy, did they answer.
Boy, did they, right? They sure did, and a lot of our friends, we knew that they were talented, right? But we didn't know how talented until we started. Well, you especially, and you were telling me a little bit about it. You know, seeing what was coming about here during this publication. So you have two that you wrote yourself. One is based upon the Mothman legend, and we have Genome Presents here in the chat, and he lives nearby, I believe, the area where the story is based. So how did that come about? Where did you find all of these different anecdotes that made that story work?
I don't know. They published all the appearances in the newspapers back in the 60s. So I just kind of fed off from that. And I actually just created my own story because nobody had ever really done an origin story for him. So I thought I would just kind of twist it with the sci-fi thing. That's how I don't really know how I could. It just came to me. That's all.
Okay, so it's just inspiration. All right, that's fine. And certainly, I like the title because wherever the Mothman showed up, good things never happened. Let's put it that way.
I will say that the part of the story was inspired by the Silver Bridge collapse, and there's a story behind that, and I kind of fed off from that to make the Mothman Harbinger of Doom story.
Right. I think part of the story is on a bridge there where that gentleman encountered the Mothman. Yeah, I really like the sci-fi elements. The nuclear, the atom bomb, kind of mystique behind it, and
there was a munitions plant in Point Pleasant, so back in World War II, so it kind of made sense. They found red water there, which I think that's like plutonium or something. So it kind of makes sense to have some kind of creature mutate.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a big legend, and Point Pleasant, there's the museum and everything. And so I thought that was really cool that you sort of formed your own story around it, sort of, plausible, perhaps, scenario there.
Perhaps.
Your second story, what is it? The Cursed Treasure, I think it's called.
Yeah.
So how did that come about? I'm interested in knowing what led to that story.
Well, both of these stories are take off from stories in Ghosts and Legends. Mm-hmm. And this one was about a supposedly ghost that was seen in that particular area. Mm-hmm. And between that and the Legend of Woolly Swamp, Charlie Daniels song, I just kind of put the two together and thought that would be cool.
Right. And there's a good moral, I think, to the story, right? Because
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'll be honest. I wrote that story about 8 years ago, and I just revamped it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I really wrote it because I was mad at my boss, and I wanted somebody to die, so I wrote him in a death scene.
Okay, so it was a way of you to vet that anger and not at your boss.
That really motivates me.
Right. Well, avarice and greed can lead down the path of destruction for sure. And in that story, it certainly did for those gentlemen. But I like that, there's a saying that you can't take it with you. Well, maybe you can't take it with you, but you can sure prevent others from having it.
Exactly.
That was the moral that I got from it. All right, Lawrence, thank you so much for including me personally, but, all of us. And, it has, I think, sort of heightened the awareness that, hey, there are people out there that want to do things just because, there are others that need exposure. And certainly that's what you're doing here, bringing a lot of us together that normally would never have thought to do something like this. But you were the instigator, you were the inspiration for us to be able to do that. So I thank you from my heart, and I'm sure I talk for everybody when that comes to the pace.
I will say that putting that together has been a very cool thing because I've met a lot of interesting people, and some of them people you will be bringing in throughout the thing that I never probably ever would have talked to in my entire life.
That's right. And again, I've spoken to a few folks today that I didn't know before. And so again, we're expanding our if not friends, certainly our acquaintances. Okay. So let's sorry, go ahead.
It's like I originally started drawing all the pictures in there because I didn't know any artists I could call. Well, all of a sudden I know of a couple now.
You sure do. And some really good ones too. That cover is so good. And of course, you originally designed the cover, and then you had somebody commissioned to actually draw it up for you, right?
Well, because I don't color. I don't have the technologically thing, and I can paint, but I don't want to spend the time doing it. And so they tweaked it, colored it. Everything was pretty much kept the same. And, and that's what I really enjoy about it, because they made it look like 20 times better than mine. And I'm pretty sure that that's going to happen in some future publications coming. That's probably going to be like 1,000 times better than mine.
Well, it's pretty good. It's really eye-catching, and it's perfect for this type of publication. All right, before we go on, let's talk about the chat, and then we'll start bringing on the fine folks waiting. We don't keep them too far behind. In early, tailgating, Rob Boswell, he says he hasn't read his copy yet, but I'm assuming he has one. Grow to Orloff is in here. Really good, cool collector who's having a contest, by the way, which you will see on my channel on Thursday. My buddy Jackson Roykirk from New Orleans is in here. Of course, Sharon, what a supporter of this community Sharon is. Come on, what would we do without Sharon here? And then, of course, we have the very multi-talented Rena, which is coming up very soon, and her brother, talented Walkabout 99 also. Comic Crack, welcome. Thank you for being here. Sarah is here, just Sarah. Okay. Thank you for being here. Gore Vidal, a very knowledgeable comic book fan. Thank you for being here. Of course, our buddy Genome Presents, the Renaissance man of YouTube, who will review and do videos on most everything and has. Welcome. And it was also my buddy on Grader's Notes. We also have James Gallegos, great chat superstar from New Mexico and a good friend of mine as well. Stay Puff, Sean, fellow Floridian who does a great community show on the weekends. Of course, we can't talk about the stream without Rayman, the Silencer Man. If he doesn't comment on one of your videos, the video is not done. He is everywhere. He's the ubiquitous YouTuber. And we got Cream City Comics. Welcome. Great to have you here. We got Super Russ, my buddy from North Carolina. Hope you're doing well, buddy. And we got, I know I saw Silver Age Dave in here. Your fellow Ohioan from up in Toledo. And Oddball Comics.
We still have the state split.
You still have the state split. Yeah, you and Biggie Shack has another corner. So, and then, of course, Gray Man is here, who also bought a book. I know that he got one. So he has probably got some opinion about the story as well. How you doing, Gray? And Splash Page Comics. Welcome, one and all. All right. So that's enough for that. Let's start bringing in some of the talent waiting behind. Now, this gentleman I'm going to bring in is actually coming from his truck. He's working, but he would not be denied. And he is the author of the story called The Mirror in this publication. Michael Smith, how you doing, my friend?
Doing good. How are you all?
Pretty good. Great to
be right off. I want to say I couldn't put that book down, and when I had to pick it up right away. I read it all the way through. Those stories were so good,
weren't they? Yeah. Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed. And even the text pieces that Lawrence drew, I think were just like right.
Oh yeah.
Right on point.
I'm actually grateful for his art because it really brought some visualization to some of those stories.
You're right. So your story, The Mirror.
Hold on, before we get there.
Yeah.
It's almost, I think it's the last page. Yeah. Lawrence is asking for letters to the editor.
Yes.
If everyone can write in letters about their favorite stories and why they liked them, because I'd love to see a letter section in the next issue.
That would be something, right? That would be just like the old time comics, right? Okay. So Mike, the Mirror. Okay. And I do have your art that you sent here.
Okay. That was the inspiration for the story. I drew that. I don't know why, when, or how. I just drew it, thought it would be cool. And later on I said, let me create a story behind it. And I wanted to come up with something completely unique, something that's never been wrote about before. The only story I ever was a Snow White with the guy in the mirror, but there's no backstory of why he's in there. He doesn't have any really powers.
Yeah.
So when I wrote the story, I just started spitballing, brainstorming, layering it. Which way can I go with this to make it more unique than nothing I've ever read before? Go ahead.
When I read your story, the reason I liked it is that you sort of, it was going in one direction, and then you do a flashback, essentially a second sort of inlet story of the history of the mirror and how it led back to the beginning. I thought that was brilliant because it was seamless, and when you think of a mirror, there's always this mystique behind it, right? Is it a reflection of the soul? Well, in this case, it sort of was of a certain soul, and the way that it was resolved, I think, was absolutely priceless, right? Because sometimes we have to do things that in our lives to achieve the the correct result. That sometimes it can be a little bit off-putting for us, but we have to do what we have to do when a loved one is in harm's way, right? That's the way I read it. And anyway, I don't want to give away too much of the story because I want people to read it because it is just really good. It's honestly, it's a brilliant kind of story.
That ending was probably the hardest. I didn't have the ending in mind when I wrote it, so it kind of I didn't really have anything in mind. I just kind of layered it. I was really what happened was I written almost a whole novel and my hard drive crashed, and I did research and it was going to cost me like $500 to restore it, possibly restore it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so devastated all the time I put into this novel. I felt like I just didn't want to write anymore. But I did at the same time. At the same time, I felt like this loss of all this story I had created, this novel, that I didn't have anything. And that was kind of like, what can I write about? I saw that picture. I thought, what would be the story behind that picture you showed? And I always had fascination with Victorian furniture and mirrors at the same time, and antique collecting and going to flea markets.
I know.
So that was kind of the beginning of the story, and then I just let it kind of snowball from there. And
well, it that's shocking to me because it's so seamless, the story, that it seems like it's something I thought would have been written like in one sitting, because it was so seamless.
Well, the truth is, it's probably 10 years of rewriting on that, little by little, here and there.
Well,
sit down, rewrite a few pages, and maybe put it aside, and then a year or two later, pick it back up and rewrite the next two. And when you're writing and you look at something, and then you look at it when time passes, you see different inspiration.
You're right. Yeah.
And you may have gained more knowledge and a little more skill, and then you can add that to it. So I wrote that mirror in like 2000.
Wow.
So it's been a good 10 years of rewriting, reading, and stuff like that. But I tell you, that ending was the hardest to come up with. I had to come up with something unique. And
all right, we'll get down here and get
it was like I said, it was cool because it was
maybe something drink, get in the shower.
It was really
kind of left
right.
And we'll talk about it here in a minute.
I thought, I thought it was going a whole different direction. And okay, somebody's asking in the chat, where do you find a copy of the book? It is available on Amazon, and also certain of us also have copies, for sale. But Amazon, I try to leave a link below in the description, but I don't think it worked. But if you just type in Tales of the Weird and Strange, it'll come up. I also have links to all the different Instagram and YouTube channels of the contributors here. So please, let's show them some support. Follow them. These are talented folks that you'll want to know more about. Trust me.
How you doing, Lawrence, my brother?
All right. How you doing, man?
Good.
Lawrence, sorry. Lawrence,
I can't see the chat either, so I hate
okay.
Chat.
All right. So I'm going to ask, any questions from the chat for Mike? Because Mike's got to go. He's actually just finished working, and he's probably got to get some food and relax and get ready for tomorrow. So I'm going to ask if there's any questions in the chat for Mike. Otherwise, I'm going to let him go and relax and thank him for being on here. And again, I can't wait to see your story for hopefully the future next publication.
I got another story ready. You said by January 1st you need it, right?
Absolutely. But sooner the better. If I have to draw or have to look
at it and rewrite it or reproofread it, but let me give you a little taste. It's about a shaman and a poor farmer in the Midwest during the Dust Bowl.
Wow. Cool. I can't wait to read that. Gray Man is asking how your shoulder's doing. We know that you have surgery.
Oh, good.
Good? Okay, good.
Not good. Not good.
Well, not good. Oh.
No, I did exercise yesterday. It was a big mistake because I couldn't sleep last night at all. But
oh boy. Well,
it's going to take time.
It's going to take some time. Yeah, take it easy, man. I know driving long distances the way you do probably is not good for that shoulder. So you gotta take it easy, brother.
We gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta earn a living.
Thank you, Jackson Roy Kirk, for the link. I appreciate that. I don't know why mine didn't work.
Like that shirt, Lauren.
Oh,
By the way, I am also going to give away a copy here in about 20 minutes to half an hour. So if you don't have a copy yet, stay in the chat because you have to be in the chat to win. Okay. All right, Mike. I guess that's it, buddy. Thank you so much for being here. Have a good night. God bless you. And we'll be
Peace, everyone.
thanks, Mike.
Take care.
Okay. Great. Okay, next I'm going to bring in the couple, brother and sister duo who had stories in this book as well. We know them so well here in the comic book community. They're almost like our kids. We know them so well, and that is Rena and Cade Brown.
Okay, I'm gonna let you sit here because we can't both fit in the screen. Oh yeah, there we go.
I forgot I could do that. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey,
Pretty well.
doing pretty good.
Yeah, how about you?
Well, if I was as young and talented as you two, I'd be doing pretty good too. So, let me start with Cade, okay? So, Cade, your story, I think it was called The Dare, right?
Yes.
Right. So, my young friend, how is it that you came up with that gruesome little tale?
Well, I believe it or not, the idea came from when I went to Florida almost a year ago, and we drove in the morning, and it was kind of rainy, and I was looking at the road, and it was like glistening, and I was like, ooh, that'd be spooky. And then like a long time later, we got the wonderful opportunity to do the book, and I was like, there's gonna be a scene where he's in the glistening road. It's gonna happen. And then I kind of just sat down and I was just like, okay, well, I'm doing a story about like the graveyard, right? And I'm like, so there should be the guy who chopped up all the limbs. He should be in one of the graves, and they should have a school assignment and go dig up the grave. And I was like, yes, it's all coming together now. Mwahaha. So, I basically just kind of sat down at the computer and I was just like, okay, let's just do this. And then I just wrote the story, and then we revised it over a few times, and then it became the possible masterpiece that it is.
Well, I see that confidence, that's for sure. So I think the story was really cool because to me, I'm not sure what was more daunting, right? The actual dare or what you had to tell the teacher afterwards. Because you're like, that project didn't quite work out. Could we have a couple extra days? See the gash in my leg here. I tried.
Yeah, actually, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, like is the best friend gonna get in trouble for like an axe wound? Because like
it's gonna be like, hey teacher, do I get an A+? Look at my leg.
Yeah, do I get a comforting A+, a sort of wounded warrior A+? That's what I would have said.
You told me.
It's really cool. I mean, the way you wrote it, I can visualize it in my head. Obviously, I'm from Florida, so trust me. It's called the Sunshine State. It always rains. Okay, especially in the summer. So I could visualize the park and the middle of the night, and you're digging there looking for a coffin. I mean, cool stuff. Lawrence, do you have any questions for young Cade?
I do. What about your contribution on page 5? Because he contributed twice too, Roger.
What? My art. Oh, my art.
Yeah,
right.
In the book.
Yeah, I drew in the book. Hi, yes, this is my drawing that I drew. I need to get the angle better.
There you go. That's good.
Hold on. Let me put you big. Hold on. There you go.
I drew stuff. I'm very proud of this, actually. It was pretty fun to draw. We just sat down and my mom was like, you need to draw an art piece for the book if that's all right. And I'm like, yes. So
You like drawing. Drawing is
yeah.
your passion.
I like drawing a lot, yeah. So I just looked up a few like models, T-posing of like knights and stuff. And I was like, okay, here we go. Time to draw this. And then I just sat there for a good amount of time just figuring out what should go where and copying down what the headed horseman looks like from a computer, all the different depictions of him, and then I was like, boom, there you go.
Very cool.
And I'm
Very
very
cool.
proud of it, actually.
Well, you should be. You should be. So
Thank you.
I'm gonna ask for questions in the chat of both of you afterwards. But before that, what do you have cooking on your channel and on Instagram and on anything else you have going on?
Well, we've actually got some cool stuff coming. I have a lot of original series that I want to do. So we're definitely cooking that up in the little pot of the burning blocks. And also I'm starting new gaming series because I'm finally figuring out how to do that completely, which is amazing. So you're going to see more Minecraft and stuff.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, and I'm definitely having a lot of fun with it. It's been harder because school has been around, so I'm like up to uploading one video a week now. But I mean,
school can be a real bummer for social media, can it? I mean, it just
yeah. I also created a Baron block.
Yeah, Baron is slowly seeping into your channel.
I created a split personality of myself that's evil, and he has like a huge arc that I'm going to be doing. So,
wow, exciting stuff coming on your channel there, coming Cade. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So now let's go over to talk to Ms. Rena Brown. How are you doing first, my dear? How is everything? I know you're working and you're authoring and you're putting up with people. So how are things going?
It's actually been pretty good so far. And I don't have to deal with people anymore. That got tossed out the window. I'm like, no thanks. So now the only people that I've been working with and dealing and like having appointments and stuff is bookstores. Just kind of following up from your comment, I'm in 5 states. Part of which I owe the Grand Lawrence Everett up at the top for helping me out. But just over the last couple of days, I've now landed in Michigan? ? And California. So, but that has spread the range to 5 states now. So I'm like, yay!
Hey, you got more than that in this. You're in a lot more
That
states.
Is true. I don't know how many states I'm with the Tales of the Weird and Strange. My name's been plastered. I just know that personally Isle is in 5.
Yeah, because you have cover billing on this as well. So definitely. And speaking of that, I think you and Lawrence were the only two that had multiple stories in this publication. So the first one, let's talk about the first one.
Wait. Yeah. Before you ask.
Yeah.
Do I get a sound of something there when you say that?
A sound of something when you hear it. What?
Yeah. You and Lawrence are the only people that have two. And I heard this earlier tonight.
Oh.
That me and Rena's the only. Am I reading between the lines, Roger? I'm putting you on the spot now.
No. Am I wrong that other people have multiple stories?
Go ahead and ask your questions.
All right. Yeah, Lawrence is always trying to, get into my head, and he does a good job of it too.
I'm so confused.
Trust me. I mean, I have to. He has to put up with me. I got to put up with him. All right. So Rena, the first one, old Miss Johnson, or is it Mrs. Johnson? I believe.
I think it's Mrs. Yeah, I think she was married at one time. Yes.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough.
With the picture that went with it when I drew it up, she's married no more.
No more. Right. Yeah.
No more.
She's probably widowed, either widowed her dead or withered him dead. Right. Okay. So
I think because there is 2 different versions of the legend, and I tried to splice both of them into the story that I contributed to, and I think her husband just died of natural causes. I think he got sick and he died, and then she just went, and yeah, it went from there.
Got it. So that is actually a sort of reimagining of a legend, or various versions of a legend, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And
you keep almost asking the question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I just wanted to know, like, the legend itself. Is there one that is closer to your story than the other, or did you just take like essentially parts of both, or did you just modify one?
No, I took parts of both, because the main two parts of the legend were, there was one where she had daughters, and her daughters were really pretty, and she used to chase away possible suitors with an axe. And she'd keep all these young suitors to her young daughters away. So that's why she wields the axe, and she's always draped up and stuff. And the other half was, or the other section of the story was, she was actually a real person, and she lived in the Red Rocks area before the amphitheater got built. And when her husband died, she was already like very mean. She was already kind of crazy. And when her husband died, she just kind of moved up into the Red Rocks, and she became a hermit. So when they started, like the construction, or when people would go down there to hike, she'd attack people, and they would always call the cops on her, but she was always gone by the time the cops got there. So, and I kind of spliced the two stories together, because in the Red Rock story, there's this couple, and the male of the couple is slightly demanding, kind of emotionally manipulative to his female partner. And so that kind of appeals to the ghost, because she would always protect her young daughters from suitors that she did not deem worthy. So I did try and splice them both.
Great, and I think you did a brilliant job of us as the reader, helping us visualize the events, the sequence of events, and how the chase sort of occurred, and the goriness of the well, I'm not going to give too much away of the climax, shall we say. So I thought I was like, I read through that thing. It seemed like it was like 1 minute, because it was such a quick, entrancing read to me. So kudos to you, my dear. Really, really brilliant job on that.
Thank you.
So Hell's Highway was that right? Hell's Highway?
Yeah.
Is your second one. Now, the first one is more what I would categorize as straight karma horror, The second one is almost like a psychological thriller, I would say. It's you could take it so many different avenues. So what was your inspiration behind that?
Well, when I was originally starting to create stories for Tales of the Weird and Strange, I wasn't sure which one I liked. So what I did is I actually made 3. And I sent them over to Lawrence, and just kind of to give him his pick of the crop. And Hell's Highway was one of them. And Hell's Highway isn't exclusive to Colorado. It cuts through Colorado, but it also sections into 2 other states as well. And there's always just throughout the entire stretch, because it used to be called Route 666. But because there was a lot of like car accidents associated with the road and such, they actually ended up renaming it to Route 491, I believe. But the legends, there's so many different legends. There's shapeshifters, shaman people who would stand at the road, and they'd try and ask passengers to stop. There is Satan's sedan, a black sedan that will chase cars and drivers off the road. And whether you're superstitious or not, there was a lot of car accidents that occurred on this road. So there was kind of this when you get onto the route, because there was just a high car accident rate on the route
Probably
itself.
because a whole bunch of Satan worshippers were like perfect.
Oh God.
Wow. Well, again, it's a very different story from your first one, which just shows the diversity of your talent, first of all. But
nobody dies in the second one.
What? What was
I
that?
said nobody died in the second one.
Nobody died, but you don't need death to have dread. Okay, those are 2 different dynamics. And I think when she made it to the end, you just weren't sure. Even she wasn't sure what happened. She was trying to rationalize it. A lot of us, our mind can only take certain amount of stress and pressure, and we could sometimes fill in the gaps with more plausible explanations. That's what I kind of figured she did. But again, that's my take, But again, brilliant in the way that it just sort of plays with your mind, not knowing, what it is. Did she experience this, or was this, a stress-fueled delusion
in the middle of the night? Yeah.
Flat tire, a whole bit. Yeah.
I kept waiting on somebody to die.
I'm sure you did. Yeah, Lawrence. Yeah. Lawrence, do you have any other questions for Rena before we ask her what she's up to?
No, I think you've pretty much covered it, and she hears enough from me the way it is.
I know the feeling. Yeah. Okay. And I know we have Gavin there, so we're going to talk to him in a bit as well. He's another contributor to this publication. All right, Rena, so what do you got cooking, young lady?
Well, I think everybody remembers when I had first published Isle of the Dark, we were supposed to do a live event, a live signing, and then COVID hit. So we ended up doing the online one instead on my birthday. So I am super thrilled to announce that we actually now have another live signing in the works. It's going to be on November 21st. The bookstore is called Books Are Awesome. Their logo is a sheep. We just met with them a couple of days ago. They had gotten a few of my copies of my book, and they showcased that they were going to have another author in just in a week. So they were like, well, if you want to have a signing here, we'll be happy to take you. So I'm like, heck yeah. So I have my first official signing in a little under 2 months, which is super, super exciting.
Well, congratulations. And I have your Instagram below. I have your YouTube below. So if you want to talk or find out more about Rena's publications, hit her up on Instagram. And before we go, there's a third person hiding back there who we know as Life with Two YouTubers. And I don't want to drop you off before we say hi and thank you to Sharon Brown, because she also had input here. There she is. There's the
Hi. How you doing?
Hi, Sharon. You thought you could get away. You thought you'd get away without me mentioning you, right?
I was trying, yes.
Yeah. But you see, I cross all my T's and dot all my I's. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that not only are you the mother of these two fine, talented people, but you are also a big supporter of this community, and you helped out with some of the more technical aspects of the book. So thank you for all you do, and hopefully you will be more involved in the next one as well.
I am actually writing a story for the next one. Yes. So I'm really excited about that.
I can't wait. I mean, does talent fall from the tree, or does it grow from the root? I guess we'll find out.
No, it falls and then it grows.
And then it grows.
Well,
scientific minds know about that.
We want to thank Lauren so much for letting my family be involved with this project. It's been so much fun, and we've made good friends and good connections, and it's just fun.
Yeah.
So we really
It's fun making people get stabbed in the leg with axes.
Oh my gosh, Kate.
Lots of fun. Yeah. Those are so underrated, I tell you. Lawrence, you have anything to say to these fine folks before we let them go?
Well, since you're doing the stabbed in the legs, try burning them alive.
Yeah. But he's referring to his own story there. That's a plug if I've ever heard it.
It's an interesting concept.
Okay, Brown, I love you. Take care of yourselves.
Thanks.
You want to give your signature off word?
See you all later.
And as always, the end.
Okay. They're a lot of fun, aren't they? Gavin, how you doing, young man?
Good.
Good. We're going to get to you in a bit. I want to bring in here one of the artists that worked on the book, on one particular part of the Tales of the Weird and Strange, and that is Mr. Lance Footer. How are you, sir?
How are you? Can y'all hear me?
Perfectly.
Hi.
Perfectly. thank you for being here and for agreeing to participate in our humble stream.
No worries. Thank you.
Okay,
Very-
go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Go
I'm
ahead,
good.
Larry.
I'm just no.
Oh,
We're
okay.
good. You got the question, man. I don't have the notebook here.
I don't have a notebook.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Well,
know.
I can't count them as good as you do. Then
I just wanted to ask Lance. What did you get the story before you drew, or did you just like that? Were you did they relate some facts to you? How is it that you come up with that art piece?
Carl basically gave me the story to read before he gave it to you, and told me to do what I wanted. And because Carl and I have worked on comic books, The Eagle, together, so Carl has full trust in me. So, but yeah, he let me read it, and I came up with that.
Let me make myself big a minute, Lance, so everybody can
Okay.
see. Because I just love this piece here. And of course, if you read the story, it makes a lot. It sort of references a little bit of the picture, of course. But again, obviously, Mr. Footer is a talented artist, as we all know. And of course, I have your Instagram below, Lance, so that people, if they want to get in contact with you or find out more information about what you do, they can certainly do that. But it's too bad we don't have Carl here, because I would have liked to have both of you in tandem, in a sense,
Exactly.
to flush out the details here. But how long did it take for you to do this, by the way, Lance?
About 4 hours.
4 hours. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm always amazed because I have zero artistic talent. I mean, as far as, visual art, right? So I'm amazed at how quickly you guys can put something together that's so beautiful and so well, conceived.
I draw anywhere from 12 to 14 hours a day. When you brought me on, I just stopped for the day.
Wow.
So yeah, I nonstop. That's all I do. This is my job. So
Wow.
you do very well at your job.
Yeah.
thank you, sir.
I'd say so. Let me, Lance, if you don't mind, I'm going to see if the chat has any questions for you. Mr. Footer, of course, has drawn for many publications in the past. You want to talk a little bit about yourself, Lance?
Name's Lance Footer. They are Lance Footer on Facebook. I was born with two things: art talent and low vision. So I'm basically legally blind. I can't drive a car. Was an art prodigy, was in Boston Museum of Fine Arts when I was 11th grade, because my portfolio won the top 10 in New England. So I was drawing T-shirts for a T-shirt company, and basically for Desert Storm, and they put me in the newspaper as staff, and I was the only artist working on it. And I said, basically, is that all I am, and as staff? And they said, well, yeah. And I said, I cleared off my table and never drew for anybody again. So since then, the disabled part of being myself turned into being overweight, depressed, suicidal, you name it. I've had it. I've done it. Alcoholic. I got up to almost 300 pounds.
Wow.
Got on a bicycle, and from that bicycle led to me riding every day, and then drawing was my escape from cycling. I took my cycling career all the way to Team USA because somebody said I could never be a pro athlete. Pro athlete went from a para athlete, somebody with a disability. I call it an inconvenience because it is just an inconvenience. I hold 3 national championships in the United States for being fast on a bicycle, 2 for track and 1 for road. I was a contender for Rio Olympics. The whole time I was training and working for Team USA, I was still drawing, but for myself. It was my escape. Now that I'm drawing 12 to 14 hours a day, basically, I have to get on the bike to get away from drawing. So it's come full circle. But cycling brought me into focus and helped me with a lot of things. It still does. I get depressed or I get sad, I get on the bike and I go ride just to get away from things. I've worked for Marvel doing sketches for Black Panther, trading cards. I've worked for Zenoscope, which is a comic book company, doing VIP sketchbook covers. I've done 4 Cave Woman comic book covers for Amaral Entertainment. From there, I went and did a bunch of indie people, and like for Lawrence's book here, I worked with Carl Dietrich, and Carl and I did the Eagle comic that was released last year, and we decided to go in and redo some things and fix some mistakes, and I believe it will get back out next year. So that's basically me in a nutshell. I mean, if you ever want to talk, if you ever need art lessons, you need help with anything, I'm always here to help people because I love giving back. But if I don't answer the phone, it's because I'm drawing. And right now I have 8 commissions to do in 4 days. So
Well, we won't keep you then too much longer.
No worries.
I did want to tell you, Lance, my wife is also visually impaired. She has RP.
Okay.
And
What is that?
she has never driven a car as well.
Okay.
And she was also in the blind sailing team.
Wow.
That went over to Weymouth, UK, about, I want to say about 20 years ago.
Wow.
She is. So my wife is. I know a little bit about your struggles. Let's put it that way.
Wow.
But
it was pretty neat when I was racing for Team USA because not only holding national championships, I was once ranked 9th in the world.
It's amazing
for cycling.
You're amazing inspiration, and I
don't like to inspire. I like to motivate.
Well,
because you can inspire anybody, right?
Yeah, true. You're doing both, right? I mean, you're saying, hey, if I can do it, if I can do it under these situations, you can do it under your situation.
And most people look at my artwork and they're like, why are you using a magnifying glass? And I'm like, because I have low vision, I have to use it. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I'm blind.
Yeah, my wife used a CCTV for many years, but now she's at the point she can't even see that. So she's only doing Braille right now. So
wow.
But she can read Braille faster than I can talk. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
I like when they hand me a Braille thing. I'm like, I can't read that.
Well, don't tell my wife that. She'll send you stuff. Okay. All right. There is a question here. Did your artwork here start in color, or was it black and white?
Black and white. I can actually see more shades of gray than most people can. So it's kind of a neat gift I have. But no, it went right to gray. I didn't do color.
Okay. Cool. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Well, unless Lawrence, do you have anything else for Lance?
Well, other than his stuff is about 10,000 times better than mine.
So kind.
What'd you say, Lance?
So kind.
No, I mean, I think if you check out his daily drawing, I mean, that pretty much says it all right there.
Agreed. And I'm part of a chat on Monday nights called the No Faces Chat, Lance. And the originator of that chat is Bub. His real name is Andrew. He's one of your biggest fans. He has like all your Cave Woman comics.
That's awesome.
So he's not here, so he's going to kick himself in the what because he is a big fan of yours. So anyway,
anytime you want to have me on, just shoot a message to me.
Oh boy, I'll send that to Bub, and he's going to if you see a vapor trail toward your Instagram, that's Bub. Okay.
All right. Awesome.
Thank you, Lance, very much for being here and for participating. I mean, it's really an honor to meet you and to have this drawing and this publication. I know I speak for Lawrence when we are just very, very grateful for that.
Well, thank you all for letting me be a part of it.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, if you want to hang around, I'm going to bring everybody.
I'll hang around.
At the end.
I'll hang around. I'm just sitting back here drawing.
All right. Okay, Lawrence. What do you say we bring in Matt Kuhn next?
Can we do one thing first?
Yeah, sure.
Can you interrogate Gavin here so he can go do his next
Oh, he's got to go too. Oh, I didn't know. I am sorry. Of
Yeah,
course.
he's got some things he's got to do.
Oh well, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. The busy life of a youngster here. Yeah, Gavin. So you wrote "Curse of the Skull," right?
Yeah. Yes.
So is that part of a legend that you heard about, or is this something that you put together on your own accord?
That's something I heard from a legend.
Okay. And what is this legend? Where did it originate from? Do you know?
Just right around here.
About 3 miles from our house.
Well, 3 miles from your house. Okay.
Yeah, it's called Stroud's Run State Park, and that's where the legend originated at.
Mm-hmm. Stroud, right? That was the name of the buffalo as well, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. And so so did Lawrence come to you and say, "Hey, Gavin, do you have something to participate," or did you come to him and say, I got something I want to put in there"?
It's kind of a mixture. He kind of wanted me to be in it, and then I just read about it.
Yeah, he just sat down and actually, I mean, he really. I sat in the back over here watching TV while he was doing it, and he actually took the reins and just ran with it. And I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, so was I. It was a short story, but I could tell the way it was sort of unfolding that this was not going to end well. I mean, this is something like, oh no, I want no part of this, and again, you're sort of digging up things you're not supposed to, essentially. And those kind of legends, like Lawrence had the thing with the curse of the treasure too.
But what's real funny about that is the one that he wrote about and the one with the cursed treasure
mm-hmm.
are less than a half a mile apart.
Wow. Yeah, there must be something about buried legends there, because it seems like if something is buried in Ohio, don't dig it up, because nothing good's going to come from it. Let's put it that way.
Let's put it this way. There's a lot of legends around here about buried treasures.
Oh.
So look for more of them.
We'll talk about that off stream, because I have my metal detector over here. And we can talk about that.
But we don't want to go to the one place because,
yeah, not that far.
Buffalo after you or something.
Yeah, let's leave that park alone. So Gavin, do you have anything else cooking for the future?
I have got maybe one story for the next book.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
You're going to give us a teaser, or you're going to keep us in suspense?
I'm going to
suspense.
Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of a teaser. It's not about buried treasure, and it is about a half a mile from where the Stroud's legend took place.
Man, I tell you, I don't know if I want to live in them there parts, because it seems like nothing good happens around there.
This is true. This is very true. Nothing good happens here.
Gavin, I don't have Instagram or anything for you, but I do have it for your buddy Lawrence there. So if you guys have any questions for Gavin, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to go on to the next. Yeah.
I did see one there. Is Gavin going fishing?
Oh yeah, right there. Hold on, right there.
You remember we used to do a YouTube channel about fishing and stuff like that, and we quit that when the Kappa God come down upon us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we haven't really done anything, but
well, I'm sure he does go fishing. He just doesn't film it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and we don't brag about it anymore.
Yeah. All right, Gavin, anything else you want to share with the fine folks?
Nothing that I can recall.
So we'll be waiting for that next story, with trembling hands, because I'm sure it's going to be something somewhat ominous, shall we say? Knowing you and your buddy Lawrence there. Okay, so let's go next to Matt.
Yep, absolutely.
If somebody in the stream needs to leave early, please say something in the chat. Okay. But right now, I'm going to bring up Matt Kuhn. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Great to have you here. I mean, I did not know you previous to this, but I know your story. So, and I really enjoyed it. So
Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. Now, so the Blue Dog. When I first read the title, I thought maybe it was like a dog who was being asphyxiated or something like that. Without reading anything, right? So, is this a legend that you have transposed into a story, or what was the inspiration behind this story?
So this is actually a local legend. I live now near like the Baltimore, Maryland area, but I grew up in southern Maryland, down towards like La Plata and Port Tobacco, which have a long history. And this was actually like a local legend that sort of you would spook high school kids with to stay off a certain road, which is Rose Hill Road. Where the courthouse is. It's a courthouse that dates back to Revolutionary times. So it was just sort of like a local legend, and you might dare your buddy from high school to drive down Rose Hill Road and make sure that the blue dog doesn't get him. So it's been a story that's been around for a long time.
Really cool, really cool. And when I read it, it's sort of I'm a dog guy. I mean, I've always had dogs, as pets, and my wife has actually a seeing eye dog.
Mm-hmm.
And they're such noble animals. And I thought this really was sort of brought that sort of it's kind of a term that you hear, man's best friend.
Sure.
Right? And in this case, he was not only man's best friend, but also dead man's best friend.
Yeah, so part of the local legend is, in some of the story that I tell is that there's a horrific murder, and there's sort of a stone that's stained with blood, and part of the legend is that if you find this red stone with the blood, and if you can sit there and you can wait for the blue dog to come to you, and you're not scared, he might take you to the thing that was taken away from his owner. So it's sort of like, there's a lot of truth and dare along with this this legend. And I've never had enough guts to go around and look for the red stone, but I've certainly been scared by the blue dog before.
Yeah, this story and a few others in this book sort of accentuate that greed and avarice can lead you to your own doom. I think this one and Lawrence's story really accentuate that, the ends do not justify the means, certainly. And just because somebody has something that you want, that the violence and, taking things into your own hands is not the way ultimately. I think the morals behind the stories and these legends are important. Because for me as a kid, we read about things like this, and it sort of kept me in check, right? I mean, you don't disrespect your elders because something could happen that it's not going to be positive. So I really enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the moral behind it, and the loyalty of the dog. And even though men do not learn their lessons, they don't listen to. Even if you don't believe the legend, that greed can lead down a path of destruction. And at least that's what this story told me.
Yeah, and I think a couple of things that are interesting here. When I talked to Lawrence, and he was like, he wanted to do a book that was based on local legends. I was like, well, this is a local legend that I've always sort of grown up with. So I did a bit of research. And I had found that there was a Civil War base, because Southern Maryland would have, down where the Potomac and Maryland would have been very close to each other. There was some, there were some fortifications to make sure, because, that's right at the border of everything. So there's actually a detachment of Civil War soldiers that were stationed near that sort of southern point of Maryland that claimed that they've seen the blue dog. So there's throughout the ages, there's always been claims of people seeing the blue dog.
Very interesting. I had never heard of this legend before this, and I found it very interesting. Again, I'm not from that area, more from Florida than the southeast, so I guess that would make sense.
Yeah, in sort of like a personal anecdote, one time I have a really good friend I grew up in high school with. He has an uncle who has, he has a grandfather. He had a grandfather who will claim, steadfastly, won't deny it. He's not playing with you. He says that he's seen the blue dog. And so like I was at his house one night, and it's late at night, and we hear all of this like rumbling in the woods, and we're all sort of like looking at each other like, what is going on right now? Is the blue dog about to run out of the woods and get us? And so we just hear all this rumbling, and about 800 bunny rabbits just run past us like through the clearing, and we're like, oh, thank God it was rabbits and it wasn't the blue dog. So that was a moment of terror I had personally with the possible meeting of the blue dog.
Cool, very cool. Well, Matt, I'm going to ask Lawrence if he has any questions, but before that, I want you to stay on because I'm going to do the giveaway. All right?
Okay, cool.
So this is real easy. If you want a copy of this book, this publication that has all these talented folks and more to come, in the U.S. only, but if you're outside the U.S., you can prize tag somebody. So right in the chat, somewhere in the chat, Mothman, Mothman, okay? I'm going to take all those that put Mothman in the chat from here down. I'm going to put them in a randomizer. Whoever wins, hit me up on Instagram, and one of these will be coming your way. And if you want me to personalize it, let me know. But otherwise, you will be getting a brand new, fresh copy. I should be getting one of these this week, Lawrence, I think.
Yeah, if everything works right and everything gets delivered on time.
Okay. So write in the chat if you want one of these, Mothman, Mothman. Okay. And if you win, I will be winging this to you probably within the week. Okay. All right. So Lawrence, you have anything, any questions for Matt before we ask?
I got one for you. Can I type in the chat?
Yeah, you can. Not Mothman though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not really, because I think he pretty much covered it in our conversations. But I just want to say I appreciate you putting it in there, Matt. I thought it was a pretty cool story, and I'm glad you participated.
Yeah, I want to thank you. It was a way for me to sort of stretch my writing muscles. I generally write in the comics format, so this was the first time for me to sort of write a short story. So I had to think about things differently, but it was a lot of fun to do. So I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate everything you've done. I mean, it's awesome. The guy that drew the blue dog and the man that was walking, who was that? I can't never pronounce his name right.
Yeah, so that's my buddy Wilson Gandolfo. He lives in Brazil, and he drew the first comic I made about 4 years ago called Digital Forever. And if you look at the picture, it's page 69 in the book. I actually sent him reference, and that's pretty close representation of the courthouse of Port Tobacco, Maryland. That is the setting of the blue dog. So it looks really close to the real building. So we were trying to be as accurate as possible, and he did a great job.
Oh, I thought so. I thought, everybody did good. I made some mistakes in producing it, and even Stan Lee had days like that, I guess. But overall, everybody. Yeah, a good kick in the groin would do that. Everybody that participated, I got more out of it. I've met more people, and like you, Matt, everybody here. that showed up. I think it was an awesome thing. I mean, it inspired me so much that I did. I don't know if you've seen this yet, Matt.
Yes, I have.
The what do you call it? The inevitable afterbirth of all the stuff that was in there, and you know, everything that you guys sent me inspired me to do something else. So it was. I think everybody getting together and doing this was just.
Okay, guys, last call for Mothman in the chat, and then we're going to do the giveaway here.
I don't know if that's how anthologies work, because I never really considered myself into doing much of this stuff. But if that's the way it works, I'm going to keep going, and I hope you're back for the next time.
Oh yeah, I'm brainstorming my story now. I've written a little bit, but I like to dabble and sort of take some time away from things and think them through. But it's pretty much squared away.
Cool.
And Matt, I have your Instagram below,
Mm-hmm.
so people can contact you or look more into your. I know you have a Kickstarter going on.
I'm running a Kickstarter right now. It's for a book called Dino Thrashers. It's with my buddy Noah, who I do a podcast with called Constructing Comics. So he's the artist, and this is my first time sort of putting on the publisher hat. So it's going on really now. It's a mashup of sort of like 80s sort of like cartoon goodness. Think like Thundercats, G.I. Joe, Transformers, like all of those things sort of put together and having a lot of fun.
Cool. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 entries. Let me double check here. I have Cardstock, I have Slim, I have Steve, I have Ray, I have Ben, I have Jackson, I have Jay, and I have Genome. So I guess that's 8. So if I didn't call your name and you want in, here's your last chance. All right, because otherwise I'm going to spin the wheel here and live, and you will get whoever wins. You will get it. All right. So we'll give them a little bit of time because there's a lag. Now, Matt, you don't YouTube, right?
Every once in a while, the podcast that I do, if we do sort of more of a visually heavy sort of episode, sometimes we do like page breakdowns. We'll put those up. But I have to say before I go, I'm a little starstruck because I've spent many an hour watching haul videos with Silver Age Dave and Metarog. So to be on this, I'm a little starstruck. So
please. You cut me to the quick, sir. Silver has a room that most of us would.
I'll never hear the end of it. I'll never hear the end of it.
Oh, please. Like Lawrence, if you've seen Lawrence room, a lot of people think that he lives in a comic book store. Okay, so come on. There's nothing I have above you. Okay, James wants in. Okay, hold on, James. Let me put you in there. James. All righty. I think. Oh, Sarah too. Okay, Sarah, you're in. Sure, absolutely. Oh, Silver Age Dave. They're coming out of the woodwork. You said Silver Age Dave. Now he wants in. All right. I think that's it. Checking mail. I don't know. All right, here we go. So I got Cardstock, Slim, Steve, Ray, Ben, Jackson, Jay, Genome, James, Sarah, and Dave. Well, let me make myself big, guys, so that these people don't think I'm pulling a fast one here. So there it is. That's everybody. All right. So I'm going to hit this, and whoever falls wins. Genome. My buddy Genome Presents, who lives pretty close to Point Pleasant over there, I do believe. So that's apropos. So I already have your address, Genome. So I will be winging one down to you, sir, this coming week. Don't Oh boy. Is too much. He is a super, super funny guy.
Hey, Roger.
Yeah.
I got an idea. How many people put in for it?
Let me see. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
I'll tell you what. I have one copy left. Let's do it again in a few minutes.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Go through. We'll do it one more time.
Sounds good. All right.
Wait, from this point on, anybody besides Genome.
Genome is out. Genome is out. No double dipping.
Can resubmit, and then we'll go from there.
All right, Matt. I'm gonna put you out here. You can stick around, and we'll close up here in a little bit. But thank you very much for coming on. It's been a real honor having you on here. I really enjoy your story, and I will definitely be checking out your Kickstarter as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun, and I appreciate the opportunity to be in this book.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. What do you say we bring in our buddy Paul Roof and see what's up with him up over there in South Carolina? There he is himself, the Yankee Southerner. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing okay.
Good to have you here, buddy. So, Paul, your story, boy, I tell you, that at the end, no pun intended, but the twist at the end there was really cool. And the character that was created from that manifestation of things was also very cool. So what was your inspiration for this story? How'd you come up with this?
Well, it's very easy. My mom and grandpa used to tell us the legends. I'm actually from Athens, Ohio, where Lawrence is, and so we heard about the same stories. And if you go to different parts of Athens County, you'll hear different stories. But this one here, I have to admit that I was thinking of a spirit story that my mom told me, and the Swamp Thing, and created this character. So a little bit of it is from a legend, and a little bit of it is from the comics.
Wow! So you took from different, essentially from all different kind of places, and sort of made this one story out of all those different things that came in your through your mind from your readings and your mom and the legends and so forth.
Yes.
Cool. Very cool. I really enjoyed it because I thought the end was going differently, and then you do that. Really, you drop that just out of nowhere. It was just really cool to read.
Yeah, I like a shock factor.
You certainly do, sir. You certainly do. Yeah. It started off, somewhat ominous, right? And it had some basic horror elements, and then at the end, it sort of turned itself a little bit, just really surprisingly, maybe more than a lot of the other stories here, because with horror that if you can fool the reader into not thinking what the ending is, you've done your job, and I think you did that masterfully.
Well, I have a story over there on Smashwords as an ebook. You ought to go check it out.
I will.
It's under the name Samuel P.K. though.
Samuel P.K.?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. I won't ask how that came about, but okay.
Well, that's easy. My sister edited it and helped me with it. And my middle name's Samuel. Mine and her, but our first name starts with a P. and her middle name's Kay.
Oh, so kind of an amalgamated pseudonym. Very interesting.
I mean, I thought that she needed to be included in the name. But I was wondering something though.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody heard anything about Charles Millhouse? I mean, personally, I figured he would be on here since his logo is on the book.
Well, he can't make it tonight. He's got some personal issues happening, as far as I can tell. That's all I can tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure Chuck would have been here if he could. Certainly, he's the publisher, and he wrote a story, a really good story as well. I would have loved to talk to him about it. Maybe some other time we can sort of rehash this. Maybe in the next book we can sort of come back to this one as well. But yeah, Chuck is, of course, longtime YouTuber with Lawrence. Paul, Lawrence, do you have any other questions for this gentleman?
No, I just want to see what he's got if he's doing the second issue, which I know he is. So I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting to see what he's got, man.
Okay, that was my question. I mean,
I'm not going to ask them questions now. We'll just all have to wait and see.
Okay, I was going to ask that question. I was going to, Paul, do you have something cooking for the future?
I'm two different ones.
Two.
Actually, 4 if it makes it to more issues.
Wow, you're very prolific, sir. I'm working on mine, but I'm only about halfway through.
Well, I'm also working on my own book that I'm hoping to have out by next year, the end of next year, somewhere, between January and October, which is more local legends.
So January of 2021?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, from that point to October.
Oh, okay. Somewhere in there. Okay, got it.
Yeah. I'm twisting those ones.
Twisting. Okay. Well, chat, if you have any questions for Paul, let me know. And I'm sure Paul will be more than happy. Now, Paul, I do have your YouTube channel and your Instagram down below. So I'm assuming you'll keep us in touch on your Instagram about your future publications. And of course your YouTube channel has kind of gone through some different changes here and there, but you essentially are you love to read, what we call normal books and review them. That's your bread and butter, right?
I do that. I love my comics. I just love the whole thing of the writing thing. Yeah,
I can tell. And you and I and Lawrence too. We're all big Captain America fans.
Yep.
So we have that in common. I'm working on that Silver Age run. Lawrence has helped me out quite a bit. What a great character. I can see the shields back there that that you have. His different shields. So you've always been, to me, one of those guys that I like because you like the character that I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's no other questions for Paul, I'm going to put you down very quickly, Paul. We're all going to come back in, though, in a few minutes once I go through and talk to Chris, and we'll say goodbye. And if there's anything else you want to talk about, you can at that point as well. Okay? So thank you for being on, Paul, and thank you for that great story that you wrote. I can't wait to read what you got for the next one.
Well, thank you all for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Okay, so our final new guest, unless somebody comes in, is none other than CB author, otherwise known as One-Legged Books, otherwise known as Chris Barkham. How you doing, Chris?
I'm pretty good. Hi, everybody.
How's it going?
I am good.
I left Chris for last, first of all, because we're good friends, and I know that he wouldn't take it against me.
Wait. Why Chris is here?
Mm-hmm.
We got two things we got to do.
Yes, we do.
First of all, we're going to give this one away here in a little bit. And second of all, I'm going to take the opportunity to team up with Chris, and we're going to grill you about your story.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh man, I was hoping to avoid that one.
See, that's why the best, we got because you grilled all of us. Now we got to grill you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that. That's why I wanted to do the stream so I could control the dynamic. But okay, go ahead, guys.
No, Chris, you go ahead and take care of Chris. We'll do your last.
So Chris, first of all, Chris is no stranger to writing. He has his own independently owned comic book, which I think is one of the best things around.
Hey,
And
that's the Silas edition.
He knows that I'm a huge fan of this character, and I'm always badgering him for other issues because it's just such a cool character. When you go to school, even if you don't have a disability, bullying and people making judgmental things of what your appearance or what your way you talk or anything is rampant in school. And then you have this character that doesn't allow that to quash his dreams. He has an idea about what he wants to accomplish, and nothing is going to stop him. Literally nothing. And that is something that I can appreciate. And Chris is the progenitor of this comic. But again, I could go on and on about that, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about Tales of the Weird and Strange. Okay. So you wrote a story called The Painted Lady, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so like I said, I already have a preconceived notion of something about it, but I want to know what your inspiration is behind this story. How did you come up with this little tale that you hit us with?
So it's loosely based on an incident that I had while I was a patrol officer. The gist of the story is very accurate. The only kind of embellishments to the story are the part about the second floor where he sees her going across the windows, and then with the painting side of it. Everything else happened though, and it was a really interesting thing because when I was, when the incident happened, I didn't think too much of it. It was just kind of weird. But, where I work, the area I work, things like that kind of happen all the time, so you don't think too much of it. And then when we went back, it was really awkward, and it actually was the dog that tied it all up. So the dog is actually a very important part, and my wife actually thought the dog was going to be a ghost.
Yeah, I kind of had that thinking myself. Yeah, very cool. I kind of figured, because I know you were an officer, that this had something to do with your life experience.
Yes, it did. Yeah, it's actually funny because the next story that I've got for the next issue is another. It's kind of an urban legend in the area that I used to work, but it's more an urban legend amongst the police officers in the area. It's something that they always teach to the younger officers about this one thing. So
right, and I'm sure that there, sometimes things, in your experiences, things have occurred which are literally unexplainable, or at least consciously. You can't logically explain it, but yet, there it is. And the reason I really like this story is, as I told you off screen before, there was this show, you're probably too young to remember. It was called Night Gallery. It came after the Twilight Zone. Rod Serling was the host, and they would show paintings that encapsulated what the gist of the episode was about. And there was one that was eerily similar to this one, except that it ended violently. So I was just wondering if you had any ideas about that show and that episode before you wrote the.
No, not a clue. Like I said, it's loosely based. And then the idea for the painting more came when I was thinking about the house and how it looked. And the house was this really gorgeous colonial kind of old plantation style house. And they had all of these old paintings throughout the entire house. And, one of the upsides to being a police officer is you get to see the way other people live. And I remembered all these paintings and stuff in the house. And I was like, well, that's something that I can add to the story. It's like maybe that they have a painting of her that she kind of haunts or is cursed,
Cool. That's very cool. I tell you, when I read that, Chris, I was like, man, this is so similar. And then I started remembering, and then I looked up on Prime or whatever, that Night Gallery, and it kind of what came back to me.
I have to find that. Yeah, if it's on Prime, I can probably find it.
I think it's either Prime or Netflix, or I don't know. Some I didn't see the episode. I just saw the Night Gallery. That the episodes were available. I don't have time to go through all that right now, but I'm going to find it one day. Anyway, but it was different. The ending was different, but the lead up was very similar. Really cool, Chris. And I know you usually don't write this type of story. At least as far as I can tell, your writings are not in the horror or the suspense realm.
No, they're not. I'm commonly associated with an all ages or a children's comic, but I do write other things. It's just I've never done anything else with them. The closest thing otherwise would be that the book that I kind of started a rough draft of earlier this year, it's something completely different from outside of it. But people that know me know that I'll write about other things. It just kind of depends. I've even written, just a couple like fan fiction comic book stories that I've posted, on different things. But I just look at it more as I've had a lot going on in my life. So, a lot of different experiences. So the chance that Lawrence gave me to do something different was really appreciated, because this was another side of the storytelling that I could do and try to learn. And, one of the things that I enjoyed about the project so much was everybody's story. When I was reading them, they were all so good in their own unique little ways. And I just enjoyed that about it, because I never felt anyone outshined anybody, but I also felt like nobody was like, at the bottom, if that makes sense. Like everybody had these solid contributions, and you could really enjoy all of the stories. And there was something for kind of everybody across, the horror / kind of pulp urban legend kind of anthology line, when you looked at it.
Yeah, I agreed. I couldn't have said it better myself. I enjoyed everyone's story in its own context. And that's the way you look at it, right? I mean, you don't need, like, some of them were longer stories, some of them were shorter, but that's not really what matters. Sometimes those short stories had a lot of moralistic and impactful moments. And I agree totally. I enjoyed your story because it had this sort of hint of realism. So I knew that you went through something, that you had something as part of you were involved in this story somehow. In fact, in my story, the next one that I'm doing for number 2, I'm involved. But so I kind of realized that when you did it, and that gave it that little hint, that little tint of realism, which sort of makes you think, did this really happen?
Yep. And it was funny too, because one of the things that I did after it happened, and after, like even the homeowners were really kind of embarrassed when we were discussing this, because I don't think that anyone had ever interacted or knew about this. But I went back to our dispatch office and I asked them to pull the call, because, they record everything and they hold those recordings. And sure enough, we have the audio,
Wow.
And I was like, hey, you guys aren't going to believe this, but that's apparently a ghost that called this in. And everyone, like nobody knew what to believe. It was all kind of written off, but it was a really weird thing.
Cool. It was really cool. All right. If anybody has any questions for Chris in the chat, now is your time to ask. Otherwise, I guess I'm going to get grilled, but let's make it quick because we're already almost an hour and a half in, and I want to bring everybody.
Let's give this away while you're waiting on that.
While we wait for the questions. Okay.
If you want, and then
everybody that was in before, and take out Genome, and I put in Crazy.
And I want you to bring somebody else back for your grilling too.
Okay, sure will. I bet Roger's the bad guy in the upcoming story. Well,
I didn't know Roger could be a bad guy.
I guess
I didn't think so either.
I guess it's up to interpretation, It's up to interpretation. So is anybody else that was not previously in the giveaway and you want in, let me know. You got a minute, because again, I don't want to keep these people in too much longer, okay? Who did you want me to bring in? Who's the next viewer?
One of the Browns.
One of the Browns. Well, they're both there, so I guess I gotta double duty it.
Yeah, okay. Hey, you're going to get more than you bargained for.
I tell you. Sharon makes me nervous, just her presence. So Imagine being grilled by her.
I'll tell you what, I've been conspiring the whole time. I asked her to come back.
I told you, man, Lawrence, he is a shifty character. You know, he's always got machinations going on in the back of his head.
Who wants to start grilling on Roger?
So, yeah, I can do that if you want.
Okay, it's between you and Sharon. You guys duke it out there.
Look at Sharon.
All right, Chris, why don't you go first?
So, Roger, was it a somewhat true story or not? Because it read like somebody learned a lesson from this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was this something you learned the hard way kind of deal, and you just kind of revamped it for the anthology?
Yes, that's very, very astute of you, Chris. There is a lesson to be learned here. And sometimes, you know, the definition of insanity is you're doing something the same way and expecting different results. And that's what happened to this gentleman. He was insane because he could not see the truth that was evident. He did not believe himself. So imagine the level of confusion and of just twisted thoughts that he was so consumed by the goal that he couldn't see that the goal was what was destroying him.
Very good. That's definitely the vibe, the moral that I took from that story for sure. So
very, very well. You know, you're a very observant guy, so I mean, I wouldn't doubt that you picked up on that. Okay,
Well,
Sharon.
I'd like to know, first of all, what inspired your story? And don't make me big. I want to watch your face as I ask you these questions.
Okay, well, I can't deny Sharon. Anything she says, I do, you know.
I would rather have everybody up. So what inspired this story? And I mean, was it something that struck you personally, or maybe a friend, or what inspired you there?
Yeah, it's sort of when I was younger, I had a lot of emotional issues, and I had trust issues, which is evident in the story, right? Although the embellishment is obviously this is a man who is much more set in his ways and is more concentrated on physical gain, and I really have never been that guy, right? But certainly, you know, when you have trust issues, everything falls on you, and when everything falls on you, there's nobody else to blame but you. And that's a burden that nobody should take upon themselves. That's why relationships and others that you go for counsel is so important to me. Because if we sometimes lack perspective and sometimes we have a certain vision here, right? That we see like this, and others though can see from the outside, from the periphery. And for many years, I didn't believe that others had my best, and you know, whatever my best goals, whatever was best for me in mind. And it took a long time for me to break through that barrier. So yeah, I'm that guy a little bit, but eventually I went through several cycles, but eventually I came out and said, no more.
So if you were to follow up this story, if there was a sequel, because you do kind of leave it open-ended at the end, would he be able to break the loop? Is he the kind of, I mean, I didn't feel that he was the character who could break the loop, but it would be interesting if you have a sequel in mind.
I don't have a sequel in mind as such, because it is a loop. And what happens is that circular reasoning is that way, right? It sort of justifies its own ends without seeing that those ends are the ones that he doesn't want, you see. But when you're so focused on a certain goal and you don't see that that goal itself is what is the problem, then you continue going for it without realizing that that there are other things around it that matter. And that is what I'm sort of wanting to accentuate, that we have to have more open minds about what is going on in our lives, right? That our perspective may be right, or it may, for us, but it may not be right in the totality. There may be others being that have better perspective than we do. And he just wouldn't listen to anything. He wouldn't listen to his own hints, right? His own person said, don't come here again. And he knew that was going to occur. It's somewhere in his heart of hearts, but he couldn't break the cycle of that avarice and that greed that was his focus. And that, again, death would have been a release. Okay, so that didn't occur. This is worse than death, because not only are you continuing to live over that horror over and over and over, but you yourself are your own worst enemy. You have nobody else to blame but yourself.
Well, I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, it was scary and it makes you think, you know, so well done. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Again, I am not a writer per se. I've written all kinds of wacky stories over my lives, or my different life. But when Lauren said, "Hey, could you write something for this?" it just sort of hit me, you know, and that's it. It was that kind of inspiration. Look who we got in here, Bub. Bub, you got to see the rewind on this, because somebody was here and we mentioned you.
Is he still here?
Huh? Oh, that's right. He's still here. In fact, he'll be coming up in a sec.
Stay around, Bub. But, you know, my question, you pretty much answered it. Because in all the time, did you ever think you would ever do anything like this? Because you read stuff. Did you ever think you would be part of something like this? Because I know you're not considering yourself an author, but here you are.
No, I'm not an author. I am a contributor because you asked me if I would be interested, right? And when you said that, I was like, well, I have a lot of stories that go through my head that have no release, right? So, and I myself do not have the impetus to do it. So I needed you to sort of say, hey, I have an outlet for you. And then probably for many of us, maybe not Rena, because she's already authored, but many of us needed that kind of release, that kind of vector for our thoughts and our creativity. And you, because of you, Lawrence, because of you, we have that opportunity. And I want to thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate you being part of it. I was afraid you'd say no.
Well,
here we are.
I would say no to a lot of people, but to you, my friend, I find it very difficult to say no to.
Well, good. We'll be waiting on your next one.
All right. It's already in the works. Okay, it's already in the works. And this one, Sharon, is sort of a quasi-experiential one. So, ooh. Did anybody else go in to the giveaway? Did I miss anybody here?
Oh, I don't know. I've been listening to you tell all your answers, and I'm so impressed. If you're not an author, you should be, because you talk a lot better than I do.
Well, being an orator and being an author are two different talents, my friend. Those are two different dynamics.
You put that stuff on paper because I don't even know how to spell it.
You're too much, my friend. You too much. All right. If anybody else wants in, you speak now, or not. Okay, because I'm doing the giveaway. Bub, do you want in? Do you want in on the? If you want to get in on a free copy of the Tales of the Weird and Strange, given away by Lawrence. And Lawrence, will you personalize it if they want?
I will, and they will have to Instagram me. Message me on Instagram so I can figure out where I'm sending it to.
Okay.
As long as it's in the United States.
Yeah, U.S. only, please. We are humble.
Our post office is horrible when it comes to sending anything anywhere else. Or they're horrible sending it in the United States.
Okay, he wants in. Okay, so we'll put in Bub. All right. We'll give him one more minute just in case anybody else wants in, but I think we got everybody in there.
I think
so.
Let's
bring in a couple other guys here.
Well, let's bring in
Lance?
bring some. Yeah, bring him in.
Hey, Lance. Hey, Lance.
Is he still there?
Yep.
How you doing?
Hello. Still working.
Still working, of course. Bub, meet Lance Footer. I think
Bub?
this gentleman. He's a big fan of yours, Lance. So I'm
Thank
so
you,
glad he
sir.
could make
Thank you
it.
for your support.
Believe me. And he says Mothman and his sidekick Butterfly Boy. Nice, very nice. And let's bring in. I don't think I can fit. Can I fit everybody in here? Let me see if I can get Paul in here too. Hold on.
Wake up, Matt.
I'm here. I'm awake.
Paul, I'll get you in a minute, okay? All right. He just followed you on Instagram. Oh, lucky. All right, so I got everybody else in there.
You can't fit Paul in. You can drop back out. That's okay if you want to pop Paul in.
Well, I'll hold on. Well, we're wrapping it up now. All right, here's the giveaway. There's everybody except for Genome, and I do got Bub in there. Let's see who wins. Steve, so I love Disney and comics. Congratulations, you have won. You have won this publication from its originator.
Who won? Because it froze up on me. You know, I got that crappy Southeastern Ohio internet.
I love Disney and comics. Steve from I Love Disney and Comics.
Oh, I could probably just take that to him. He don't live that far away.
All right, just throw it on one of those drones and put it over there.
Yeah. Well, I got to go that way anyway, so I might just meet up.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's wrap it up. I'm gonna highlight you, and then you're gonna say your goodbyes, unless Lawrence has something else. But I wanted to thank each and every one of you, first of all, for being here, spending this hour and 41 minutes with us, and allowing us to, because I had never met Matt, I had never met Lance, and we are all collaborators in one publication. So it's just so gratifying to see the talent, in live form, shall we say. So thank you for letting me host this.
I think Lance will be collaborating a little bit more, probably more than what he knows.
Really?
Thanks.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Is there a link to purchase a copy? Yes. Jackson Roy Kirk, could you put that Amazon link in there again, Anthony, please? Amazon has it, Tales of the Weird and Strange. But Bub, if you want a copy, I'm going to be getting some extras, so you can hit me up and I'll send you one. Okay. So we'll talk tomorrow. Okay. All right. The Browns, the very, very talented and supportive Browns, minus Cade. I guess he had to go to bed. He's got school tomorrow.
Upstairs filming, actually.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he was behind on one of his own videos. Like after talking about his YouTube channel, he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm missing something."
He's in the middle of a project right now, so I slid in for him. So.
Oh well, that is quite a great substitute that he has. So, ladies, as we end the stream and we ride off into the night, shall we say? I am very excited to hear, first of all, Sharon, that you are going to be writing a story, because I can't wait to read it. And Rena's are stupendous, so obviously anything she writes, I want to read. So thank you for being here. I am so honored to call you guys my friends, and for you to participate in this game. So what else do you want to tell these fine folks before you go on out into the Colorado night?
Well, Rena is working on a Christmas project.
Yeah, the Christmas thing. Yes.
Yeah, she's writing a short story, like a little Christmas deal that goes in with Isle of the Dark.
Right.
And it's going to be like a kind of a giveaway deal.
Yeah. So it's like if you don't have Isle of the Dark yet, if you get it around Christmas time, you get the Christmas story free. But if you already have the book, the Christmas story is just going to be like $2 or $3. It's just going to be like, hey, look at this.
Well, also if you make a purchase on her website, so
That
like if you
counts as
order
well.
a shirt
Yeah.
or any of her art, she has her own website with merchandise. She'll be giving that away, and Lawrence is actually helping Rena with that as well.
So I have further thanks to
we're
give,
very,
Mr.
very
Everett.
fortunate. Yes, very, very fortunate indeed. So,
And I do have your Instagram link below, and I know in there you have information about your merch and your website and everything. So if you're not following Rena Brown, author, Life with Two YouTubers, and Blog About 99, do yourself a favor. Go to Instagram, follow them, go to YouTube, sub them, because you will want to be a part of these people's lives. It will enrich you, trust me.
Oh, you're so sweet, Roger. Thank you so much.
Okay, ladies, have a good night. God bless. And I will be
Well,
seeing you guys,
thank you
I'm
so
sure,
much.
soon on some kind of stream.
Love meeting all of you. Good to see you, Lawrence. Good night.
You want to do your signature goodbye?
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, but we don't have Cade.
We'll see you all later.
Oh, they are just a bundle of fun. And let's bring in Paul, who has been patiently waiting. Hi, Paul. Thank you for waiting back there, buddy.
Hey, it's okay. I've just been writing.
Oh, yeah, of course, Lance has been drawing during the stream. You've been writing. I mean, Matthew's been probably thinking of stuff. I mean, you guys can't turn it off. I tell you. Well, speaking of Matthew, let's bring him in as solo. Matthew, again, I didn't know you before, but I knew your story. I am very, very happy to have met you finally. And I want to check out your stuff on Instagram. I think we all should. And again, all your information is below on Instagram. Everybody, please follow Matt because he has got some really cool stuff in that Kickstarter. I was reading it a little bit, and of course he's going to be on the next Tales of the Weird and Strange as well. So you want to keep him up. What's up, Matt? What's up? What else is up with you?
Yeah, I just I want to thank everybody. I met Chris through my co-host on my podcast, and then he sent me an email telling me that Lawrence was looking for stories, and I reached out to Lawrence. So sort of that power of connection, I was able to meet up with everybody. I had a really great time. If you want to check out some of my Instagram, some of the bad pictures I draw, you'll see why I mostly write. But I have a Kickstarter going on right now for a book called Diner Thrashers. I also have a podcast called Constructing Comics. We've had Chris on a number of times, and it's a lot of fun to just meet up with folks and talk about comics. But I just had a really great time, and I'm looking forward to doing more with the group.
Yeah, us too, Matt. I mean, now that we know you, and we are sort of taking you into the community here and making you a part of us. We know that I knew that you were into comics, but I didn't know that you were watching YouTube videos, things like that. So now that I know that, I'm going to be more careful about the hauls and the things that I do. Because somebody with your eye for detail, I got to be more careful.
No, I've spent many an hour or hour and a half just sitting there watching people just scroll through all the comic books that they picked up. So it's a lot of fun to do. Okay.
Anybody else have anything for Matt? Otherwise, we'll let him go and wish him a good night. And hopefully we'll be doing this again soon when the second issue comes out.
Nice to meet you, Matt.
All right. Thanks, guys. I had a lot of fun.
Okay, Matt. Thank you for coming on.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay. Let's talk to Mr. Footer.
So,
Mr.
still
Footer.
working. Still working.
Did I just shock you? I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
Okay, Lance. So what projects do you have in the near future that we should maybe keep an eye out for?
Obviously, something else with Lawrence, because you just heard that.
Well, yeah, I heard that it was very obtuse. I mean, what are you talking about?
I was like, what? But no, I'm just doing my thing, doing sketchbook covers here lately. Working with Lawrence, working with Carl Dietrich that wrote the story for y'all's magazine on the Eagle. working on my own comic books, working on everything. I mean, it's hard to say just one project because, like I sent Lawrence a picture while I was sitting here, I just concepted an evil queen for my Alice in Wonderland teacups. So
And it was a very good picture.
that was just a concept.
Lance, do you do commissions?
Yeah, I always do commissions. That's what I'm right now. Like I said, I have so many by the end of the month, and time's ticking down. But I have some customers that literally, I can say, hey, it's going to take me 2 more weeks because, a sketchbook cover for me through a magnifying glass could take, 8 to 12 hours. Because if you see my sketchbook covers, I don't just doodle a picture and throw it to you and here you go. You have a piece of art when you're done.
So if anybody wants anything, they can hit you through Instagram. On
Instagram, Facebook's usually better.
Facebook.
I mean, I've literally put my phone number on both Facebook and my personal page and my art page so that people can text me, because people don't realize that even in Messenger, I have to use a magnifying glass.
Yep.
But I have my text set up so it's really large print and I don't have to use a magnifying glass anymore. Like right now, I'm working on my Wacom Cintiq tablet, and it's it's the biggest tablet you can get to draw on. And I still have to wear glasses that are 3 times magnification, and I'm still blowing it up huge. So, that helps if people just text me.
Wow. Wow. Okay, Lance. Well, unless somebody else has anything for Lance, we'll let you go and get some rest. And I want to thank you again for agreeing to be on here. It was a real honor to meet you, and hopefully we will do this again real soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Lawrence, so much too.
Thank you, Lance.
We'll talk soon.
See you later, Lance.
See you, brothers.
Bye, Lance. Paul, sorry, something happened to you. You got kicked out again there.
Yeah, that internet.
That internet. That's the bane of the YouTuber right there, is the bad internet. So, Paul, thanks again for being here, brother. Like again, we so enjoyed that story, and that character that you created. Very, very, really genius stuff. Anything else you want to say to the fine folks before we send you off? Anything else you got cooking in your YouTube channel?
Well, not really on the YouTube channel, except for I'm going to be doing some writing sprints, starting probably next Saturday evening at 8 p.m.
Okay.
That's where we just time ourselves and see how many words we can get in 5-10 minutes. Now, the book I was talking about earlier of mine, that I'm hoping to have out by October next year. So if you like that story, the Briar Patch, when my book comes out, it's called Fright into Terror.
Wow. Sounds rough.
It's a bunch of short stories, but it's really, I believe, going to be good.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
And one of the stories, I'll give you a hint of one of the stories in the next magazine or publication, or whatever you want to call this, is Bounty Hunter of the Dead. That's the working title.
Wow. Yikes. Oh, I can't wait to it sounds really interesting. Bounty Hunter of the Dead. Wow. Sounds like a Reaper.
Sorry. It's Bounty Hunter of the Damned.
Oh, damn. Oh, wow.
But and the little thing about that is it has something to do with the Civil War.
Oh, historical piece. I love those. I love them. Okay, guys. Well, if you guys don't have anything else for Paul, otherwise we'll bid him a good night and thank you again for agreeing to be on here. We know we're old buddies, but you know it's always a pleasure to talk to you, Paul. And
Well, thank you. And it was a privilege of being in a publication with all these talented people.
Absolutely, 100% agree.
Wait. Let me get this right. You got one that's not very talented in it, and he's talking right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's me.
No, it's me.
Okay, Paul. Good night, buddy. Thanks again.
Good night.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, so I think we'll just end it with us three here because we're almost at the 2-hour mark.
Holy cow! You was right.
Yeah, it's getting there, right? And I know Chris is in the Eastern time zone, so it might be a bit late for him. I'm not sure. But Chris, man, it's great to see you again. I really have missed your YouTube channel so much, but I do catch you on Instagram. But it's not the same thing, you know. It's not. Don't have that personal touch that YouTube had, you know. So, but it's great to be here. I'm so happy when I heard that you were going to have a story in this publication, and that I was going to be on there with you. That would be an honor that I can take into perpetuity. So it was great to see you again, buddy.
It was very good. I mean, that was probably my favorite thing about this when I was thinking about it was some of the connections that I had to everybody, and now I get to have this like kind of permanent piece with them. So I really enjoyed that aspect of doing this project.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I definitely thought, I was like, man, you know, like Chuck, Lawrence, Roger, you know, like we all kind of were in the same YouTube communities, always watching each other, like, you know, so it was a really cool thing to be able to go, oh, now I've done something with all these guys. So
Agree. So Superior Sam, still going strong, right?
Yeah, so we just wrapped up the Kickstarter for Superior Sam Presents Take a Knee. It's done. We hit the goal. The book is in. Josh is working on the art. We're still on deadline to have it November, early December is what the goal is. So hopefully that'll be going on sale. The script is done for issue number 9. So as soon as we have the funding available, we're going to run right into issue number 9, which will probably drop spring 2021. I've already got my second story done. I just sent it to my editor for the next issue of the Tales of the Weird and Strange. So hopefully Lawrence will have that in a month or so once we get done editing it. And maybe I'll get around to doing something with the book that I started over all of this, you know, earlier this year. But, you know, I've got a lot of things going on. There's 14 issues now completed of Superior Sam.
Wow.
Only 9 of them are available. Only 8 are available with 9 coming out. So we've definitely got some things going on. So.
Wow, Chris, that's exciting. I didn't know you wrote that far into advance. That's cool.
Yeah, I stopped actually writing that far in advance because what I found is I kept going back and changing them because I didn't like them. So I kind of just write the synopsis now and then leave it to where it gets closer to where it's going to be done. But no. So like I said, we got Take a Knee done. Issue number 9 is done, which will introduce Cool Hand Carla officially. You'll get her backstory. And then issue 10, I know for a fact is going to be the autism/spectrum issue, which I'm super excited to finally come up with a story and a concept that I'm proud of with that one. And hopefully that community really appreciates it as well, because they were the people that originally followed me and really helped spread the word of Superior Sam. So I'm just honored to be able to finally have a story to present for that community. So
fabulous, Chris. And if somebody wants to buy some of those comics, how would they do that?
You can go on my website, chrisbarkamauthor.com, or you can go directly to Etsy and purchase through my Etsy store. It's also available in several stores throughout the state as well. And you can always just shoot me a DM on Instagram, CBAuthor, and I'm always glad to do something, if you don't want to go through any of those, where I can just send it to you that way too. And they're all available to read for free on Webtoon and Tapas. So keep that in mind. Even the Take a Knee issue, as soon as we get it done, it's going right on there for free, because anytime we can talk about anti-racism and getting rid of that in society, it's definitely a good thing. So I don't want to stop to spread any of that. So.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Great job, Chris. And of course, I will be hitting you up on Instagram at some point.
Yeah, we need to talk a little more. I feel like we don't talk a lot. That was something I really looked forward with doing this. So.
Yeah. It's life gets in the way here, but yeah, definitely we will be doing that coming in the future for sure. Especially now that we have this commonality amongst us, shall we say?
Yeah, we can share story ideas.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, Lawrence. Not only do we have did you come up with this monster, but you also you did tease it, right? This here.
Yeah,
right?
I did, and I'll never do two at the same time again. That killed me. And I feel like that some quality got lost by working on two projects at the same time. And Chris, I think you could understand it.
Yeah, don't double tap. It's horrible. I told you when you asked me to do a story what I had going on with the Kickstarter and with the book and all kind. I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to actually do this. So,
but you did.
Yeah, and I'm very happy that I did too. So
you guys got too much creative juices for me. When is this going to be available, Lawrence?
It's available now. It's on Amazon. I mean, it's available in a lot of locations. It's just I've been having trouble getting stuff from the printer. So, it's just, every time. And also the other problem I have is whenever I get them, I can't keep them for more than about a day.
Yeah,
So,
if you're a fan of the old style Marvel Fireside Fun books, this is a pretty good facsimile of that.
and that's what inspired it along.
And if you've read this, you'll have a good head start on the clues for this. Okay, so that's all I'm saying. All right, Lawrence. What else? That's it. Let's go home.
That says it. I mean, but I will say one thing before we get off from here.
Let me make you big here. Go ahead.
Oh, you don't need to do that. Shrink me back down.
Oh man,
shrink me back down.
You guys and your modesty.
All I can say is that everybody that participated in this, I feel like we kind of created a little bit of a more bond than what we had before. And the people that we met in there, or at least I met during all this, has been the best reward of all.
I agree.
That's all I got to say about that.
Oh, I agree. And you are the reason for that. You're the one who brought us together, who did the grunt work and put out the feelers and so, I know we talked a little bit and say, hey, who do you think might be interested and so forth. But you've done a lot of legwork, and you have coalesced a bunch of individuals that otherwise would never have been in the same publication if it weren't for you. So thank you very much for that, buddy.
Well, I'm so appreciative that everybody wanted to participate. And we got some new ones coming about for the next issue too.
That's right. That's right.
There's some new people from the comic community and other places. So it's if we want to consider it like a small family, it's growing.
Very good analogy, actually. Very good analogy. All right, Chris. I guess we're going to get out of here, buddy.
Yes, we are. I will talk to you guys all later, and have a great night.
Likewise, everybody, thank you for being here. Be blessed. Be back. Again, if you want a copy, it's on Amazon. And if you want a copy, if you want to hit me or Lawrence up, we can also send you a copy. But remember, Weird and Strange 2 is in the works, so keep an eye out for that as well.
It's also on the RenaBrownAuthor.com website.
Rena Brown has it. That's correct. That's correct. So if you want if you want like us to personalize it, hit us up. If you just want a copy to read, just get it through Amazon. But we could send it to you maybe $1 cheaper or something.
And honestly, the pages would make pretty good birdcage liners when you're done with it too, because that's what you always did with pulps, right?
Can I put him on timeout? If he wasn't the originator of this, and it would seem disrespectful, I would blot him out. He's his own worst enemy. I should have written about him in my story.
You should have, because it would have been a hell of a horror story.
Creator that hates his own creation.
It's right. That's right. He's his own. All right, gentlemen, let's get out of here.
I don't
have to wake up at some ungodly hour. So
yeah, I got to be up at 3:00. So I got about 6 hours to get some sleep.
Thank you for the chat, for hanging in there for all this time. We appreciate it. All our friends were in there supporting us. I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. Everybody, you know what I'm going to say. B&B, be blessed, and be back. Bye, everybody. And thank you.